from the Bahamas at the Hilton Hotel. Dare to be great with creator and host, Master Motivator Spence Finlayson. And now, here's Spence Finlayson.
Good evening and welcome to Dare to be Great, coming to you all the way from Nassau, Bahamas. This evening I'd like to talk about purpose. You know, it was Angeli who said this about purpose. When you are inspired by some great purpose, some extraordinary project, all your thoughts break their bonds. Your mind transcends limitations. Your consciousness expands in every direction. And you find yourself in a new, great, and wonderful world. Dormant forces, faculties, and talents become alive, and you discover yourself to be a greater person by far than you ever dreamed yourself to be. Now, it was the late great Jim Rohn who said this about purpose. He said, if you don't design your own life, if you don't design your own life's plan, chances are that you'll fall into someone else's plan. And guess what they have planned for you? Not much. So you need to start planning your own life at this point right now. There was a Cherokee expression that's very funny, but it makes a lot of sense. It says that when you were born, you cried and the world rejoiced. Live your life so that when you die, the world cries and you rejoice. And they tell me the greatest danger for most of us is not that our aim is too high and we miss it, but that it is too low and we reach it. Not that it's too high and we hit it, but it's too low and we reach it. It's from the Bible, it says, from Philippians, it says, I can do all things through Christ, which strengthens me. I can do all things through Christ, which strengthens me. Always believe in yourself and believe that you can do all these things. We're now in the back to school era right now here in the country and throughout the region. I just want to share some tips with you right now for some parents for this new school year as it approaches. 1, become your child's most enthusiastic cheerleader. Build self-esteem with frequent reminders of his or her specialness and intelligence. Let those kids know that they're very special. 2, reward their good grades, their positive behavior, and your child's efforts. Reward their good grades, positive behavior, and your child's effort. Number 2. Number 3, make learning a priority in your home by setting aside a special time and a special place for studying. Make learning a priority in your home by setting aside a time and place for studying. Number 4, encourage curiosity and create a climate where learning is fun. Discuss school assignments on a daily basis and help when you can with your child's homework. Encourage the curiosity. Encourage them to continue to ask questions. You see, a lot of times when we become adults, we don't ask questions anymore. We follow the beaten path. Become childlike again, and now the children ask questions. Why are we doing it this way? Why has it been done this way? Why? Encourage those questions. Number 5, encourage your children to read. They tell me that readers are leaders. Readers are leaders. And you know, Dr. Pena said it so well some years ago about the lack of reading here in the Bahamas. He said if you want to hide something from a Bahamian, put it in a book. We need to start reading, friends. Encourage your children to read. As a matter of fact, go and buy the books for them to read. Number 6, use a dictionary to introduce at least 2 new words every single day to help them to build their vocabulary. Introduce 2 new words every single day to help them to build their vocabulary. Number 7, never withhold love from your child based upon his or her disagreeable behavior. Affection and love are as vital to children as air, the water, and food. Don't withhold the love. And let the children know that it's not them that you don't love, it's the behavior that they have that you don't love. Number 8, and this is so important, set limits on television, interactive computer games, and monitor their choices of music. Today, children spend a whole lot of time on their laptops, and all of it necessary is learning. They're involved in so many different things. So set limits on what they watch on television, set limits on their interactive computer games, and monitor their choice of music. There's some lyrics going around today that will cause the hair to stand on your head. Number 9, don't speak negatively in the front of your child about their teachers and the school. Support the school's rules, regulations, and discipline. Support the school's rules, regulation, and discipline. And finally, number 10, attend their sporting activities that they're involved in. If they're on the track team, they're having a track meet, attend the track meet. If they're playing basketball, go to the games. If they're playing softball, go to the games. If they're involved in soccer, go to the games. Whatever they're involved in, you support them because they're our future. All right? Support those kids right now. But I want you to know that you're greater than you think you are, and your lives are truly full of unlimited possibilities. And there's nothing that you can do in this world once you believe in yourself and believe in a power greater than yourself, and then let go and let God have his way in your life. I'm here to tell you today that God has got a plan for your life. You know, yeah, God has got a plan for your life. Last year, I was invited to Barbados to speak to the Barbados Hotel and Tourism Association's luncheon. And on my way to Barbados that morning, I got up and I said, I want to read a book about God today. I want to read on God. And I got up and I got into Miami International Airport and I went into the bookstore to look for this book on God for the 4-hour flight from Miami down to Barbados. And as you know, I went in and I didn't see anything on God. I saw books on Obama, books on leadership, all these sorts of things. And I left the bookstore and I went and I sat back down. And the next man told me, go back to that bookstore and look for this book. And I know today that that man is God. I was obedient. I went back to the bookstore and I started to look for the books. And as I looked through, I still didn't see anything on God. But finally, on my way out, there was a display stand at the end of the bookstore. And there was a book lying flat, because all of the books normally stand up. This particular book was lying flat. I peeped over, picked up the book, and the title of the book was Understanding Jeremiah 29. And Jeremiah 29:11 says, for I know the plans I have for you, declares the Lord. Plans to prosper you and not to harm you. Plans to give you hope and a future. I'm here to tell you, wherever you are, that God has got a plan for your life. It doesn't matter what trouble you're going through right now. There's a song that says that trouble don't last always. So I'm here today to challenge you. Wherever you are in Barbados, wherever you are in Jamaica, wherever you are in the Cayman Islands, wherever you are in Trinidad and Tobago, wherever you are in Turks and Caicos, I'm here to challenge you today. I want you to be great. Dare to be great today, because greatness starts with you and it's within you. God bless you as you live your best life now.
You've been watching Dare to Be Great from the Bahamas. Master Motivator Spence Finlayson. We're speaking seminars, workshops, retreats, and conferences. Please call 242-64-4011. Dare to Be Great.
I'd like to do a few shout-outs to some of our dearest friends and supporters of Dare to Be Great television show. I'd like to say shout-out to Mr. Michael Clarke, a good cousin of mine, Reverend Victor Roll, Lorraine Clarke, and Cynthia Grant, Marjorie Stewart, Whitney Patton, Sandra and Richard Roll, Sharon Smith in the Cayman Islands, Val Giddens in Freeport, Grand Bahama, Brother Nelson Brennan, Franklin Rigby, Mispa Ambrista at St. Barnabas Anglican Church, and Dr. Wendy Stewart.
At Virgo Car Rental, there's only one number to remember, $39.99. Choose from compact or mid-sized cars, and they're all just $39.99. And passenger vans that are $59.99. Also, with daily, weekly, and monthly rates available, you can enjoy even more savings. Visit us at any one of our convenient locations or enjoy our courtesy shuttle pickup and drop-off service to all hotels and the airport. Virgo Car Rental. It's where you drive the best for less.
Thanks. What airline takes you to Exuma, Bimini, and Freeport for only $139.99? Sky Bahamas.
I got my ticket. How about you?
And what airline takes you to Marsh Harbor, Abaco, or Cat Island for only $139.99? Sky Bahamas.
I've got my ticket. Now you get yours.
On-time flight schedules, large spacious aircraft. At Sky Bahamas, safety is our culture and service is our passion. For reservations, call 377-8993 or book online at www.skybahamas.net. Sky Bahamas, come fly with us.
Good evening and welcome to Dare to Be Great. My guest this evening is Dr. Arthur Clarke. Welcome to Dare to Be Great.
It's a pleasure to be here.
Good to have you here, sir. Good to have you here. Now, Dr. Clarke, how did your early education prepare you for your career as a doctor today?
Interestingly, I spent a lot, prior to going into medicine, I went into medicine at a somewhat late stage compared to the other people today. Most times physicians are graduating as doctors at the age of 22, 23.
But you,
I went in as a mature student. I went in at the age of 27.
wow, okay.
Prior to that, I had actually I had done my degree at McGill, and in fact, in those days, you really, without any sort of direction, you just
Right, that's right.
You just did something that you thought
That you wanted to do.
right, but you thought that it would also lead you to medicine in the quickest route. So, when the gentleman asked me, "Do you like which is your major, anatomy, physiology?" I didn't know what anatomy was. I didn't know what physiology was. So I just said anatomy. So I ended up doing anatomy at McGill in Montreal, and I subsequently came back and found that what could you do with an anatomy degree? Nothing much.
Right.
So I actually ended up working in the lab at the Princess Margaret Hospital.
Okay.
So I stayed there for a considerable period of time, almost like 7 years. And I moved through almost all the different sorts of lab. And what I did was I actually utilized all my time in each one of the labs, tried to read around subject matters.
Wow, good stuff.
And after a period of time, the technical work I found it kind of mundane. So in fact, I was somewhat young, and I got myself into some trouble. My boss, Mr. Dr. Andre Hanna, who was a good friend of the family, used to find me in away from work in mischievous activities. So she said, young man, you need something to keep you focused, and which department do you want to go into? So I said, well, give me the morgue, man, because at least things change there every day.
Exactly.
Situations differ. Little did I know when I went in there that I would have been filled with so much trepidation from what I saw. But
Right.
as time went by, I actually got used to it. And again, I used a lot of the pathology.
To assist you.
To read, yes.
Right.
And a lot of the specimens there. And in fact, I befriended several other doctors who came through. They were doctors at this time. And they were junior doctors at the time.
Who came through.
Who came to do rotations in the lab, and they were preparing for high examinations, and I would partner with them, and I learned a lot from them. These are people like Dr. Charles Johnson, who's now head of the Department of Surgery at Princess Margaret Hospital,
Wonderful.
And Dr. David Barnett, who's an orthopedic consultant in the country at this time too.
Wonderful. While growing up as a kid here in the Bahamas, did you always know that you wanted to be a doctor or in the medical field? Because you took a different route, like you said.
Yeah.
Did you have that in you as a young boy?
Yeah, but probably for not the right reasons.
Oh, okay.
Not that I was interested in money, but it's just that you could identify what I'm saying. We had that generation where our parents were actually farmers and actually people who never actually finished high school.
No.
So they wanted the most and the best for their children.
Yes.
So my father's dreams was for his 5 kids, each one of them to be professional and quote unquote professional.
And
so
that's what
he
exactly
had
what
itemized
happened.
me as a doctor, so I grew up brainwashed in some ways.
Wow, that
so
you were going to be a doctor.
So I was fortunate that I was kind of good in most of the disciplines.
Yes.
And I just gravitated towards that area. And in fact, I found that there was a great love for it.
Wow.
Yeah.
Good stuff. Now, you mentioned our parents, but both of us have a very strong Andrus roots.
Of course.
Who were some of your early influences when you were growing up, Dr. Clarke?
Well, my early influences not necessarily would be people who mentored me in medicine.
No.
Those would be later. But my grandmother, Mama.
Yes.
As you know,
great woman.
Best Day Road.
Yes, great woman.
All right. She was the
late great.
Yes.
Yes.
That was my greatest influence, and my mother.
Yes.
I must say definitely, who has been a great support, and also my father to some extent.
And your father had the vision for all of you, and success obviously runs in your veins because you have a sister who's a lawyer, a brother who's an engineer.
It's easy, but then
a brother who's an engineer and other professionals in the family.
Clarke,
Francis, yes. Good stuff.
Yes.
Good stuff.
I also have a sister who's now a social worker who was in Andrus, who are actually dealing with a lot of the social ills and fallouts in the
country.
Society.
Wow. So it's in the blood more or less. Yeah.
Well, I suppose parents them have ideals and dreams, and they at least those days. And I think to some extent
today.
But if you don't see it, I don't think as
no, we don't see it
in our society.
No,
today.
it's not as pronounced.
No, we have lesser standards, I think, to a great extent.
Right.
I'm not sure if we can say it like that, but then again, I think we accept.
I think so. My father was a great carpenter.
Uncle Ali.
Yes, a finished carpenter. My mother was a great straw vendor, but they had great visions and dreams and hopes for the children.
Of course.
And and it's important. I don't see people doing that today, like you say, not to that degree.
No, I bring to mind just last night. I'm not sure. I hope I don't get in trouble saying it, but I was doing some work in the accident emergency department, a locum activity, and there was a father. I didn't see the father, and I didn't see the child, but it was definitely causing a lot of distraction and discomfort among the other clients and patients in the place. And the nurse actually had to try to intervene to a great extent, and it became quite a very heated exchange. And you recognize, for the most part, and most people recognize that the child actually was rude and wasn't listening, and the father himself actually, in fact, one of the clients made a comment. Now we see why that child is like that, because the father is.
Yes, exactly.
You can't expect anything more.
Exactly. Dr. Clarke, you were educated in the Caribbean and some other places. In your opinion, how does the medical schools in the region compare with the UK, Canada, and the United States?
Well, the UK and the United States, of course, are very good schools, no doubt about it. But something, I know University of the West Indies candidates and graduates can hold their own among any and all. We've proved it.
Over and over.
Over and over. And right now we have some of, not just locally, we have some of the top practitioners of the craft, but even regionally.
Who came through the system?
Of course. Some of these characters are people who they are classical people. Like in Jamaica you have Mr. Peter Fletcher, the surgeon. You have Mr. Cyril Fletcher, the anatomist. Yes. I wouldn't mention, there's so much other medical people there that they bring, when you see them, it's just. They bring the standard. They raise the standard. Oh yeah. Yeah. It's a. So we can go anywhere, and we have them we have candidates and graduates in Mayo College in Chicago or wherever in the United States, and they hold in their own.
Wow, wonderful. Yes. That's good stuff. Speaking of education, today, someone once said that education is an ongoing process, and what you achieve in life is directly tied to what you have in your minds. How can we improve on the educational system here in the Bahamas? There's a lot of talk about that right now. That's a
loaded question, and just very recently I was reflecting and almost lamenting. I've seen, 37 years later as an independent country, I don't think that we really meeting the marks that our forefathers wanted. I think all of us in some way have dropped the ball.
Right.
We were held to a higher standard in all ways in time back. It reached the point now I wonder where, I think we need to rethink the concept of going to school. I do believe that homeschooling, I would, if I had to do it again,
you would do some homeschooling.
My brother, I'd seriously consider that.
Yes.
For a number of reasons that I feel that I can get more out of my child or the children in less time. I can still have time after that to socially integrate them in other disciplines.
Yes.
And I do believe that sometimes the values and morals of the exchange and what the children are exposed to in school now is not something that I would particularly care for my children and the next generation to
so there's something to be said about homeschooling. There's a lot to
be said about homeschooling. And I do believe it's no longer than the day I went to a school inquiring about something and asked them, it's a public school, and asked them, what is the syllabus for the year? Unfortunately, they don't have the syllabus prepared.
Not as yet.
Not as yet.
We're still running behind.
The school open today.
Yes.
So you, as the teacher, don't know what you're going to teach in the term, but the school starts.
Right.
This brings me back to when I visited someone in Trinidad, and they always excel in their school, their grades, and their high examinations. I think they have one of the highest standards in the Caribbean.
They certainly do.
And I asked the teacher, I had dinner, I asked her, so how are you all able to perform at this standard consistently? And she said, one, we have pride in being teachers. I'm from the school. I want my school to do better than the other schools.
Yes.
And I work towards that.
Yes.
And everybody else does that. And what we do is we challenge the students such that they finish the syllabus by January.
Wow.
So by January until April, May, until the exam, all they're doing is revision. So
when the exam comes,
no small wonder that they
could excel.
They do well.
Wow.
But yet in our system, and I'm not a teacher, but I do believe I was married to one.
Yes.
That they don't always even finish the syllabus.
Wow.
You see,
Wow,
so,
yes, yes.
I mean, that's only just touching the surface.
Surface,
you know,
yes. There's a whole lot of stuff. There's a whole,
more.
because I mean, this has been talked about so much. There's a whole lot of stuff about this educational system today. But let me ask you, Dr. Clarke, you've had an interesting route to where you are today. Do you feel that you're living your purpose today?
I think I'm a work in progress, but I'll tell you one thing. I think the good God
Yes.
that I serve,
Yes.
and I look forward. I think each day He's revealing and opening avenues and trying and directing me in certain ways.
More and more is being revealed
More and more.
as time passes.
Yeah, and I do.
That's a good
believe-
thing.
Yeah, you know, I don't understand it, but
Right.
I receive it.
Yes.
And I look for where it takes me.
Exactly,
Yeah.
exactly. Now, what are you presently doing now? I know you're working on, you may have some other things on the drawing board that you would like to do. You're an enterprising young man. Would you like to share any of them at this point, or are you keeping them close to your vest? Anything you want to share on in reference to that? I know you.
Well, I do